To have faith in God is not a stagnant state, it's a journey. As believers, we should grow in our knowledge of God and His Word. Walk with Alan Cutting and many other believers as we walk the believer's journey.
Aloha and welcome to the Believer's Journey. We're back now into the United States. We want to thank everybody for your prayers and for your help and for your donations and things that helped us do a successful missionary trip to Slovenia and Moldova. And so today, I've not done this before, but I want to go through what we've done in Moldova and Slovenia this year and explain to you the things that have happened, what we've done there, who we've met, and so forth. So you see the actual work we were doing. And so I want to thank, though, before we get started, I want to thank my sponsors, Guerrero CPA, Guerrero Law, and Trade Show Displays. And I want to thank everybody who's prayed for us, who's given to us, who watches our program and shares our program, prays for our ministry and our program. The Believer's Journey has branched out much more than just a Bible teaching ministry at this point. We've had to relook at our ministry because we are actually helping missionaries in Pakistan. We're helping missionaries in Moldova and in Slovenia. Here also in the United States, we're helping a couple programs. So we've actually branched out to help the needy as well as missionaries out in the field. So we've had to relook at our ministry and look at it deeply and with a lot of struggle, because it was much bigger, much more than we ever imagined it would become. And that's a lot of thanks to you and your prayers and your giving. We want to just say aloha and mahalo. Anyway, so let's move on to our missionary trip and talk about it. The first thing we did was when we went to Eastern Europe, we actually stayed a couple days in Moldova to rest, and we moved over to Slovenia. And I have a map here of Slovenia, and you can see it in the beige color. It's surrounded by Austria, Italy, Croatia, and Hungary. And we stayed in the capital city of Ljubljana. There on the picture you see the Slovenian flag. And we spent a week there. We were asked to come there several months before we headed out to Eastern Europe, to Moldova. And the first picture you see there of the family is Jay and Zena. They're the missionaries that we support and have asked us to come out, and there's their two children. So we came out there, and we came out there with a plan to work with a Bible study group on a Monday night. We worked with their team, their crew there with Campus Crusade. And then we gave a marriage seminar in the middle of the week. And then also, finally, we were supposed to work with the teens. Well, we didn't get with the Bible study and didn't get to work with the teens, but we did work with the Campus Crusade group and a little bit, and we did the seminar. So I want to show you the picture of the Campus Crusade group. It's called Crew, and there's three couples there, and then there's our Susan and myself. One couple is not there. I believe the wife was sick. So you have on the left, Justin, he is the captain or in charge of the entire group, and you see Jay and Zena on the right-hand side. Those two people, Justin and Jay, are from Ohio, and then Zena, of course, is from Moldova. I've known her for a long time. And in the middle group, we have a couple, and they're from Slovenia. So basically, we have the other couple that came from Ohio that isn't in the picture. They're from Ohio as well, and they've been there for 10 years working with the Slovenians, okay? So what we did the first Sunday we got there on a Friday night. On Sunday, they brought me to a little church where I gave the sermon, and you see they rent a space out. I think it's from some kind of library or whatever it is, and it's not connected to Campus Crusade. It's totally independent from Crew. And so I went there and I preached, and you can see me standing there. I'm in my Aloha shirt, of course. Everywhere I go, I'll be wearing my Aloha shirt, and that's kind of what we did. And then after the service, we went to the pastor's home. You can see that picture there. There's Susan and myself with the pastor, his wife, and 3 children. So we had dinner with him, and I spent time with a pastor talking about his goals, his desires, and the things and the stuff he's going through that make it difficult within the area of Ljubljana and Slovenia. Slovenia is typically a Catholic nation, and the problem that they have right off the bat is that there's a lot of people, even though they're devout Catholic, maybe on Easter, I'm not sure, but it seems that's the way it is. They Couples tend to not marry. They tend to figure, why should we? We don't want to get divorced, so we'll just move into with each other, and they start raising a family, and they're never married. So it's been a problem. It's been a situation where there's a real struggle with the ministry aspect of it, trying to reach out to the people to get on board on a moral aspect within Christianity to follow this. Slovenians are real picky about outsiders. The fact that our crew is mostly are made of outsiders hasn't been easy for them to really connect, but they have been doing it. And I know Zena, who is from Moldova, she's making friends with their children's the parents for the other children and teachers and so forth. Then they invite them and they have them over for areas of discipleship and dinner, and they build these relationships, which is really good. Okay, well, the next slide shows you is the primary site I use for what we call the art of marriage. It is a seminar that I wrote and put together for marriages, and not only just marriages, it's for people who might be engaged or going steady, or who may want to become married one day. It gives a good foundation for those areas. So what we did is we met into this one particular house, and it's really it was a big room. And what we did was we set up these tables. You can see the people were there eating. We fed them dinner, and on the tables you see candles and little pictures of or droppings of hearts and flowers and things. And on the windows we put balloon hearts, and that's what we did. And we pretty amazing. We had about 18 people show up. Not all were married. The person on that picture on the right-hand side with the glasses, he actually is dating a girl who is a Christian, and he's looking into becoming a Christian. And there's another guy in there who came who doesn't go to church. And so we had some really good ministry points in good areas. Other than that, you'll see me teaching, and I'm in the front by the screen there. And And after that picture, you'll see I'm handing out flowers. I'm handing flowers out to all the ladies that are there. One thing I do believe is that men need to continue dating their spouses even into their marriage until they pass away. I believe it's something that you do. Couples who get married, then they have children, tend to forget their relationship with their spouse and spend time with their children, and they want to build that relationship with their children. Then they turn 18, they move away, and then the spouses look at each other and say, well, we really don't know each other, and a lot of times they divorce. So I really talk a lot about the dating aspect, keeping each other close and committed to one another and in that relationship, and it's really important. So it was a good seminar. It was very successful, and I think the people there were very happy. And then we have a picture. Susan and I had a day where we were able to go out, and we had one of the missionaries, Jay, took us around Slovenia, and we went up in the mountains. And there you can see a picture of Susan and myself, and it's just beautiful. It's pristine. Behind us there, I believe those are the Alps right there. On the other side in front of us would be some more mountains, and that would be where Austria is, right at the top of the line of the mountains. So they're surrounded there, but it's a gorgeous area. It's pristine, it's beautiful. This is actually November, and not many trees, but some trees are turning yellow at this point. They're kind of behind the times a little bit. So from there, what we did was we flew back to Moldova, and we spent the next few weeks in Moldova. And I have a map here that I want to show you if you have not seen a good map of Moldova, because I talk about Moldova all the time. There it is. There's an arrow that points right to that little green spot. You'll see that Ukraine is above it, and then Romania is below it. But I wanted you to see this map in particular because I want you to see the size of Russia as it bears down. We all are familiar with the war in Ukraine, and Moldova is right next to Ukraine. And so I want to show you where it is. And in the Black Sea there, below Moldova and Ukraine, there are battles there. The town of Odessa is there at the corner where Russia continues to bomb, and Ukraine is trying to fight them off. But that town there in Odessa heads right into Moldova. So the people are pretty safe right now. They feel safe. Ukraine is actually protecting them, which is kind of a nice thing. There was well over 1 million people that flowed through Ukraine into Moldova, and a lot of the Moldovans took them in. They housed them. They gave them a place to stay, gave them food, clothing. Many of them have left, either gone back to Ukraine to help out, or they've gone to other countries, and many of them have stayed in Moldova. So you have this big influx of going on, but I wanted you to see that map because I think it's really important you understand the geography of what we're looking at. And when we go to Moldova, Moldova is a really neat place because I believe that's where God is really working. I would think several decades ago that God was really working in the United States. And you can see the moving of the Spirit. You can see the moving of all that. Well, in Moldova, it's very evident that the moving of the Spirit is working in Moldova. The crew staff that I work with and that work there, they're about 65 to 70 people, unlike Slovenia where they only have 8. So when you have 65 to 70, you have all kinds of different departments. You have, your athletic department, family department, teacher department, your schools, department, your church department. So you have all these different departments, and you have several on each team that work with us, and they're very active, and it's really cool. So the next picture I want to show you is this couple. He is to your right is Sasha, and to the left is his wife Alina, and they're holding a map that we gave them, the Believer's Journey gave them, and it's to help him in geography for biblical purposes in teaching and preaching. Sasha and Alina are in Crew, and they have a team in Crew that they work with, and they've been in there ever since I've known, so they've been there a long time. But Sasha is also the pastor of God's Space Church. So he has a home church like many of the Crew staff do. And I don't know if there's 15 or 20 that are in his home church, and there's several home churches. They've been trying to get up to 100. They've never reached that number. But what happens is all these home churches meet through the weeks, and then one day a month on a Sunday, they'll meet and have a service, a church service, on a particular Sunday, and he's the pastor. He preaches. So he's got a dual duty there, and he's pretty active, and he's pretty cool, and so he asked me to come teach at their home church this time. And the topic I have here is, what does it mean to be holy? When I went to Moldova and taught this time, I really taught a lot about holiness. I taught a lot about becoming like Jesus. It's been my topic for several months now on the Believer's Journey, and also in the classes I've been teaching here in the United States. So I gave out this question: what does it mean to you to make Jesus, number one, the center of your life, and number two, all of your life? So we spent a good portion of me teaching that, okay, and then we spent another portion. Here's half the group sitting there, and we spent another portion, maybe an hour or so, discussing and questioning all the ideas and the things about what it means to be holy, what it means to make Jesus the center of your life. And I believe they're speaking in Romanian. I have a translator, so as I'm speaking in English, they're speaking in Romanian, and that's the group that I was with on that one side of the room. Okay? So the next thing we did is we spent several days, well, actually it was several classes. This missionary here, his name is Yuri. And Yuri, I've known Yuri since 2009. He came to San Antonio, and he introduced us to Radu, and that's how we became known to know Radu. Yuri has left Crew, and he started another ministry, resource center, and also with Compass. And what he does is he teaches in one of the public schools there, or private schools, I'm not sure which, but he has several students he teaches a business class. And so he told me he wanted me to come teach and talk to them about, to their business class. He's got about 250 students he wants me to speak to. And he asked me to do this because Susan and I have a business, And he believes because we have a successful business that it'd be great to teach them how to run a successful business. And so I basically told them, but I'm not a businessman. I don't know anything about business. The only thing that when Susan and I started this, the only thing I knew was Susan was a great salesman, knew nothing about business. And I was a pastor, a minister, and a Bible teacher, knew nothing about business. So the only thing I could do is say, Lord Jesus, I don't know what to do, but I trust in you because I know the biblical principles of how to live and how to maintain a lifestyle, whether it's in business or ministry or your personal life and your family. And I put them to work in our business, and I watched God build our business and help it successful. And basically, it maintains our lifestyle. So that's why the believer's journey doesn't pay me any kind of a salary, or we don't try to build for a salary, so we have our own income. And that's been a blessing for all sakes and purposes. So what I do is when I go into the school, you'll see there that I'm teaching there. And then you'll see another picture there of Susan teaching there. So we both talk about what we do. And the number one thing I tell these classes is that when we have a business and we started our business and we maintain this lifestyle in our business, is that we said that Jesus needs to be center of our business, number one. And he needs to be, in and throughout everything we do, that we represent him, that he is like the owner of our business. And we want our integrity to reflect that which is holiness in God's eyes. So when we deal with customers and we deal with vendors and we deal with people, we want Jesus to be the person who they see in us as we're building business. So as we look to the classes, there's a first picture. You can see out the classes, and there's a whole group of students. And these are either going to be juniors or seniors in high school. And and so basically we had several classes like this. And we had lots, after we give our talk, they would ask us all these questions. Now, we would do it in English. They can speak English, and they would ask us back in English, so it was pretty easy. We did have a few questions from there to ask about building our business and what were the most important things. Again, I go back to making God, the center of our business and honoring him in everything we do, and that Jesus is center and focus of all things. And then we go into integrity and honesty and taking care of customers and so forth. I mean, all that's secondary to us as we build our business and have worked our business. So this is really kind of nice. We did this for the week and different days of the week. And we had through those days, it was all day long. So you can see it was a lot. The next picture I have is Sasha and Zeta. Now, they came on my program while we were in Moldova, and if you haven't watched them, you need to watch them. They're a really good, neat couple. Sasha was in my seminary class back in 2011, and they were dating back then. So Sasha and Sveta, he's the youth pastor, so they're the youth pastors at the church and ministry KBC Ministries, okay? Sveta also works with adults, senior adults in their church. And so they're very, very busy as pastors and missionaries. And they basically, the way they live is they raise support for their life to live and for their ministry. Sasha is one of the four main ministers of KBC Ministries. And so we have connected in such a way that we believe that they just are on the same page as a believer's journey. I really love this couple. They've done great. So we were asked to come and talk to their teenagers. We've done this before with our teenagers. Why they want an old man, I don't know. But, it's kind of interesting. So we went there, and you can see in this next picture, there we are. And the first thing we have to do is play games. So we got a card game going, and because Sveta taught Susan how to play really well. She beat everybody big time, and they said they're not playing anymore and wanted to know if I knew how to play Texas Hold'em. And I said, I think so. And so we decided to get out all the chips, and we played. And after that, I talked to them. I talked to them about Jesus. We talked to them about our lives and what brought us to ministry and things like that. So Sasha has a pretty good-sized youth ministry there, and He's taken them to the park and done things. He's really thinks outside the box. He's kind of a very, very special youth pastor, and he's very good at what he does, and he loves the Lord tremendously. So the next missionary, his is Yura and Olga, and their two children. Yura is, he was once with KBC Ministries, and he moved on, and he's now with what they call Compass. And Compass Ministries in Moldova, what he does is he works with different leaders in Moldova, different pastors. And when I was asked to come out there, he asked me if I would speak to two different groups of pastors. There were 40 in the south part of Moldova and 40 in the north part of Moldova. In the northern part, they spoke Romanian, or speak Romanian, and in the southern, they spoke or speak Russian. So that's what I was going to do. And when I got there, the southern group, they got called off to be, this is a weird trip because things got changed while I was there on the spot. But they got called to another leadership conference, and so that one was put on hold, and I went to the northern part. But instead of going to the group where there were 40, they brought me to a group where there was 17. So here I am in this church, speaking of these 17. This is the beginning because there's more than this group here. And I had an interpreter. And so what we talked about was how to be like Jesus. I wanted these pastors to know that it's not good enough just to talk about how to be a good Christian or be like Jesus, but the pastors themselves need to understand what it means to have the power of the Holy Spirit, to become like God, to be born of God, born from above. And having that within them makes it better and stronger for them to actually teach it to their congregations. So that's what I spent the time with them. It was about 4.5, 5 hours that I spent there with that particular Saturday. And it was very fruitful. It was very good. I had very good positive feedback with a couple of pastors or a few of the pastors. And so we really enjoyed that. Then we had, if you remember the picture I showed you, Sasha and Alina. Well, he asked me to come teach their church a 3-day seminar. So you have a picture of myself and this other missionary. His name is Gena. Gena is in charge in Moldova of Athletes in Action. And so he does my translating in Russian. He's does what I probably think the best job. And so you have the picture there of Jesus, and in Russian, to be like Jesus. So we did this seminar there to his church, his God's Space. And God's Space runs, I believe, between 60 to 100 people. We didn't have near that many for that particular seminar. It did last 3 days. We did have good questions, and we had people there that needed to be there. In the next picture, you'll notice that we had people, in Moldova, everywhere you go, for every kind of service, everything you do, people have to eat. And so we have snacks, we have coffee. It's kind of funny, they really do go all out with the food. And sometimes during their services, you'll have fruit on their tables and drinks and tea. Everybody drinks tea there. So it's pretty cool. And then the next picture is where I'm actually teaching, and again is on the other side, and there's some of the words there in Russian as we're teaching this. Okay, and I think this is on a separate day, and this is actually the same day. Okay, so that lasted 3 evenings for a couple hours each evening, and then on that Friday of that particular week, you'll see a picture there of a lady. Her name is Natasha. And Natasha, this is in Moldova still, she's in charge of what they call Crossroads. And Crossroads is, they're teachers. They're teachers that are in Moldova that she works with. And I think there's 100 or more teachers she works with. She has what she calls a core group. And her core group runs about 17 teachers. And so I've spoken to the teachers before of 80 or more teachers in the past with her. For different situations, whether it be a seminar or whether it be just teaching teachers. And so this time she wanted me to talk to her core group. So I spent a couple hours with her core group. You see that picture there around the table. And there are 17 or 18 teachers there around the table. And we are, and there I am, and they're asking me all these questions about my life as a teacher and the successes and the downfalls, the pitfalls, all the things that go on. And it's come to a surprise that we have some of the same problems in the United States as they do in Moldova. Things about, discipline and so forth, and working with your superiors, and how difficult it is sometimes when they don't respect you. So it's it was an interesting thing. Teachers in Moldova, they make about $300 a month. So there is a real interesting situation. These people who are teachers aren't there for the money, obviously. That's the basic salary in Moldova in the city. So they are dedicated, and I've seen some of them for several years now. The next picture you see, there we all are, all but one, taking a picture together. And Natasha's there is to my right, your left. And it's a nice little group. It's a nice core group, and she's got a really neat group there that works with her, that helps her with all the rest of the teachers she works with. Okay? And that basically was our trip. We did a lot of different things. We spent a lot of time this particular trip meeting with other missionaries. One of the things I met with the director of crew for Moldova. He suggested that I meet with other crew staff members, leaders, because they've got a new leadership and a lot of younger leaders now that have been there for the last couple of years. So I met with the Moldova director of Moldova for church, GCM they call them, Global Church Ministry. I met with him and his wife, and I met with a couple others. I met with Ivana and his wife. So basically, we talked a lot about what the goals are for Moldova, what my goals are for ministering to Moldova and in that area. So we did meet with several of them. I don't have their pictures up here, just for the lack of, I thought it would be too much time. I guess not, but we have a lot of pictures we had there. And just so you know, we met and spent a lot of time with these different groups. So what I want to do now is I want to show, what we did now is, the next picture is, you'll see this pastor standing there in front of this congregation. And this pastor here is out of Chisinau. And this group in this church are actually primarily Ukrainian refugees. So what happened is that in Ukraine, when all these people came over from Ukraine and they settled in Moldova, in the city of Orhei, they got together and had a small Bible study. Then it grew and it grew, and they decided they wanted to start a church. So here you have the pastor, and you have the back of the church here, and there you have myself and Sasha. Sasha came out, and he was my interpreter. I think his background is Ukrainian. So he basically came out, and it was my translator. We preached a sermon. And the next picture you'll see is a picture of the entire group. There's Susan and myself in the front. And that is your group from Ukraine, the refugees. And there's the pastor and his wife right next to us. And it was really a neat group. It was a neat time. The singing was wonderful. These people are just adorable. They're wonderful, and they really love Jesus. And this ministry is just precious. And knowing that these people came from a hard situation where their country and their cities and their homes were blasted and blown up. These people are just wonderful and loving people. And I was just so honored to go and speak to these people. So that basically was all the different services that I attended to and spoke at, that Susan and I took part of, and we taught and we preached and so forth. So the next three pictures I want to show you, the first one is Sasha and Zeta, and the next one after that is myself with Gienna and Dasha. This Dasha is Gienna's wife. Now Gienna was on our program when we were in Moldova, and Dasha was not on the program at the time. But that's his wife, and so they're in charge of Athletes in Action in Moldova. He is the main person. And then finally, Susan is there with Radu and Luda, and they're in charge of family life. And he is also asked to become the co-pastor of God's Space Church. So now he's doing double or triple duty, and he is well known, and he also has a lot of respect for a lot of people. He's a very wise person, And so these three couples, Sasha, Gena, and Radu and their wives, the Believer's Journey has met with them, spent a lot of time with them, and have decided that we want to personally, from the Believer's Journey, support these three missionaries. We believe that their work, their heart, their dedication to the Lord is just above none. And we believe in these three couples, and we want you to know that because we put them on our website, and we're going to open up an account. And in the next week or so, we will have availability. I'll let you know when it's available to, if you want to support one of these three couples on the Believer's Journey. We'll have a page that you can go and read about them. They'll have their testimony. They'll have their pictures. They have families. Sasha and Zeta have a daughter. She's wonderful. And Gena and Dasha, they've got 4 kids, as well as so does Radu and Luda. So all of them are very active. All of them take care of their families as well as their ministry. They don't look away from their families because they think the ministry is more important in the church. No, they really have families that they love and they tend to, and they want to make sure that their families are loving the Lord and that they're being taken care of. And so we really believe in these three couples. I can't tell you that more than I have. I'm in touch with, Radu and Luda weekly, and Sasha, I'm in touch with him pretty much every other week, and now I'm in touch with Gena pretty much a lot. We treated Radu and Luda and Dasha and Gena to a little trip so we took to spend some time with them and really get to know them more and more, because we wanted to be sure that what we were doing in wanting to support them was really right. And so we felt this urge from the Lord, and in meeting with them, Susan and I both felt confident in presenting this to the board of directors with the Believer's Journey that we would go ahead and do this. So we're in process now of doing this, and I just want to let you know that. So this particular trip that we took, we were gone for a total of 6 weeks. There are 4 of them that we took in ministry, and 2 of them basically we took on our own as our own vacation. And we just had a lot of different things happen. We had smaller groups, more ministries we were involved with, and a new country, Slovenia. So we believe that probably we'll be involved with Slovenia and visiting it along with when we go to Moldova, we'll also go to Slovenia as well. We want to work with these people. We love them. They just seem to be a really neat group. The pastor of that church, Peter is his name. I just think he's amazing. And so we want to work with all these groups that we're with. And we couldn't do this without your support. We couldn't do this without your prayers. We couldn't do this without the Believer's Journey. And we are now, when we go over to this area, we're not going over as Alan and Susan. We are going over as the Believer's Journey. And we represent the Believer's Journey when we go to these mission fields. So we don't just go for a couple days. We do go for several weeks or for a month at a time. We want to make sure that when we go that we're making an impression from us to them. And we want to make sure that we have time, if they want to see us on the side or personally, that we can meet with them for lunch or meet with them and have a talk and just pray with them and let them know that, who we are and what we think and believe. There are questions about our ministry. Who are we and what do we believe and what do we do? And so we are there to answer questions while we're there. And it's really kind of a blessing from the Lord. Okay, so that is my program for the day. I wanted to share this very different program than all my others. I want you to know that Jesus is Lord, and the more that I say that, the more I believe it. I believe it in my heart because I live it, and I believe that Jesus is the King of all kings and Lord of lords. And I believe that it's important that we announce this, we live this. And in my life, it's important that I teach this, as well as in teachings, in seminars, and so forth. So the last thing I want to say is, as we're branching out, as I mentioned earlier, I want you to know that we are wanting to branch out in seminars and Bible teachings more and more. If you are in a church, or happen to be of a Christian organization, that wants to have a seminar or a Bible teaching come to your group or your church, I ask you to contact us. You could, at the bottom or in the description area of YouTube, you can see our email is there. You can write us an email, or you can go to our website and you can contact us through our website email. And we'll be glad to get back with you. We don't charge anything for the seminar or teaching at all. It is totally, something we do in ministry. All we do ask is if you happen to be far away, to cover our travel expenses, and that would be it. If you want to give a love offering, we're not asking for it, but that's just totally up to you. But we do not charge for anything because our finances are taken care of at this point, and we're not trying to get rich off of our ministry. I don't believe in that, and that's why we don't take a salary. So I just think that I want you to know we are available. We are here. I have teaching. I am a topical teacher. So I teach up by topic. We do topics on the Holy Spirit, on marriage, on the end times. We do on holiness, becoming like Jesus. We have all kinds of topics and availabilities. And actually, I could probably teach most any topic that you put my way if you're interested or you have a need. When I have people come on our program, I ask them what topic do you want to talk about and teach while we're on the program. I usually go with their topic. So I've done many topics, and this is not by my choice. So I want to thank everybody again for the last time today for your prayers. Your prayers are so coveted. They're so needed. And I'm so thankful for everyone who has taken part in your prayers and you're watching our program. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so. I really would appreciate it. It doesn't cost anything, and it does help you find us easier, and it does help us become higher in the rankings. So here we are. There's the end of the day. And you all have a wonderful day. You have a wonderful week, and aloha.